Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and I know the lighting's a bit weird, but you know what? Actually, it fits my fucking mood because I don't really talk much about the news anymore. Because it's like, why? But the other day, someone mentioned this news to me, and I looked it up to confirm it. I can't believe it. One of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life, The Star Crystal, is getting a Blu-ray from Kino Lorber. The Star Crystal. Now, for those who don't know what the hell that is, it's not the Dark Crystal. That's a good movie. The Star Crystal is a film I reviewed long ago. It's still on this channel. In fact, I'll put the review down below in the info box. I did many, many years ago. This is a movie where, first off, the VHS cover lied to you because it has a creature that's not in the movie. And this creature kills people in very lame ways. And the creature looks like this orange algae looking motherfucker. Like if there's a lava rock monster and he puked, that's the puke. This orange algae looking piece of shit. And it kills people. Then it reads an electronic Bible on a computer. Becomes a fucking Jehovah's Witness knocking on your door. And then said, "Oh, I'm sorry." He starts talking and then tells the remaining crewmates, "I'm sorry that I killed your friends. I'm sorry. It's because of this, and I didn't understand." And then the crewmates are like, "Ah, it's okay." They help it get on a ship and leave fine and dandy. And then the sappiest fucking song you overhear plays at the end credits, like, "Whisper from a star." And I sat there and I go, so if if an alien kills your friends, it's okay as long as it apologizes and asks for help. I just watched that review. I explained it, and I even have some clips in that review to prove what I'm saying. If you're wondering why am I going so over the top, what does it matter? What makes me mad about this is there's so many movies, so many films, so many flips that don't even have a DVD release, let alone a Blu-ray. And this gets it from Kino Lorber. This gets a Blu-ray. A Blu-ray and DVD. I would not be fucking surprised if it has extras. Even if it doesn't, the fact... I think about movies that I enjoy. Granted, it's all subjective. But I look at a movie like Blue Monkey. People don't know what that is. That's a film I reviewed that I enjoy. It's not a perfect film, but I think it's a fun 80s creature feature starring Steve Railsback where this cool-looking bug creature kills people in a hospital. Has some nice blue lighting for mood. Steve Railsback does a good job as the cop. There's some nice characters in there. One played by John Vernon. And that's a guy who's in Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Savage Streets. He's the guy who said, "Go fuck an iceberg" in that movie. He's in this. There's other people. They do fairly fine. Some nice practical creature effects. That's not even on DVD, let alone Blu-ray. That's a movie that, if it doesn't, it's going to be lost. Because who knows how long. I mean, films do get lost, folks. That doesn't even have a DVD. Nightlife, aka Grave Misdemeanors. That's an 80s film starring Scott Grimes. He was the kid in Critters, and then he was also the star in Critters 2. He was in this film where him and his, I believe his uncle, or his uncle works as a mortician, and this kid wants to leave town. He gets bullied by these folks, and one day these folks die in a car crash, and there's this weird type of mist gas that along with some lightning, brings them back to life. And now it's a kid and this girl he likes being chased by the bullies who are now undead, who are now zombies. That's a good little film. Not even a DVD level on Blu-ray. Again, it's called Nightlife, aka Grave Misdemeanors, from the late 80s. Murder by Phone. Richard Chamberlain giving a really good performance. Doesn't have a DVD level on Blu-ray. The Ambulance with Eric Roberts. To me, Larry Cohen's most underrated film. I like Larry Cohen's films. The Stuff, Cue the Winged Serpent. It's Alive. I haven't seen it forever. The Ambulance to me is Eric Roberts, James Earl Jones, Stan Lee makes an appearance because Eric Roberts' character works at Marvel. He works as an artist. And it's about the people who kidnap folks using an ambulance, and Eric Roberts trying to find Janine Turner from Cliffhanger, and him and this female cop have to, and you have some really good chase sequences. You still have that Larry Cohen sense of humor. That's on DVD and a glorified DVD-R. Warner Archive bullshit. So that's why I never bought the DVD, because it's a fucking DVD-R. Only we make it, except you. So it doesn't even have a real DVD. And it's not on Blu-ray. But this gets a real DVD and Blu-ray from Kino Lorber. But The Ambulance, oh, a glorified DVD-R and not on Blu-ray. This film from 1997, Aberration. Not on DVD in the US. Not on Blu-ray. It's a film, you have these sort of practical lizard-type creatures, small, they're trying to kill people. Fun creature feature that feels like an 80s film, even though it was released in 1997. It's called Aberration. That doesn't have a Blu-ray in the US. Death Machine. That is a DVD in the US that's a shitty pan and stand. And then no Blu-ray in the US. It was some limited edition Blu-ray overseas that you have to cost an arm and a leg. No Blu-ray. So what doesn't get a Blu-ray in the US? The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer. Split Second with Rutger Hauer. Death Machine. All these other movies. They don't get a Blu-ray in the US. Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. That can't get a Blu-ray in the US. Hell, we don't even have a good Blu-ray of George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. We have a bare-bones shitty release from back in the day that's out of print. I think from Anchor Bay that maybe had a commentary, maybe not, I don't know. Yeah, it's had a Blu-ray set overseas, but I don't have a region-free Blu-ray player, so. But even films that don't have a DVD, like I mentioned before, films that don't even have a Blu-ray in the US, Split Second, The Hitcher, Rutger Hauer, Death Machine, that means The Ambulance, Nightlife, Blue Monkey, Deep Space with Charles Napier, who was Murdoch from Rambo First Blood Part 2, who cuts a fucking alien's head up with a chainsaw. To be honest, it's the only film Fred Olen Ray directed that was worth the shit. That director has an HD. He can't get it on Blu-ray because MGM won't return his phone calls. So that doesn't get a Blu-ray. Moontrap gets a Blu-ray and it's a piece of shit because it's fuzzy, it's DNR, looks like a glorified VHS. The DVD-R my friend Michael Keane Phantasm sent me, I still have because that looks better than the fucking Blu-ray that came out. But this one is going to be in HD, it's going to look better. I guarantee it because that's how shit happens. All these fucking films. Hell, even House on Haunted Hill from 1999, which I think is a pretty decent remake. That doesn't have a Blu-ray in the US. Don't blame me, look it up. There's like a Blu-ray from overseas. No Blu-ray of that in the US. None that I could find. Outbreak. Try to find Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman on Blu-ray. I looked, like one's from overseas, that's all in Spanish, one's from overseas. But in the US, no. When you look closely, oh, wait, that's all in Spanish. What? That's dubbed in Spanish and that's from overseas. I could fucking go on. It's insane to me. What? Gleaming the Cube. I looked at that. That's a good movie. That's an underrated film with Christian Slater. Gleaming the Cube. That doesn't have a Blu-ray in the US. The Taker of Beverly Hills doesn't have a Blu-ray in the US. Deadly Outbreak and Street Night with Jeff Speakman. Two underrated Jeff Speakman action movies. Especially Deadly Outbreak. To me, a very underrated elements of Die Hard. Jeff Speakman shoots a guy in the balls and goes, I guess you forgot your bulletproof cup. That one line is better than any fucking thing I saw in the Star Crystal, but that doesn't even have a DVD in the US, let alone a Blu-ray. And it just kills me. It fucking kills me. And I'm looking at some of the few VHS tapes I have left. It fucking kills me. That this money, and I know people don't say it's about rights issues, but you're telling me you spent all this time on getting the rights and restoring it to HD and put it out on Blu-ray and DVD of this piece of shit, one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my fucking life, instead of putting the effort to all of the movies I mentioned. Either give them an actual DVD, or an actual DVD that's in the US, or an actual Blu-ray that's in the US, or a good Blu-ray of it. Again, take your pick. I know I'm repeating myself. A movie that's never been on DVD anywhere in the world. Nightlife, 88 Grave Misdemeanors, Blue Monkey, Murdered by Phone, Deep Space, for Charles Napier. Or a film that maybe you can find on DVD in the US, but never got a Blu-ray or DVD in the U. Like The Hitcher. That DVD of The Hitcher, Rutger Hauer, is out of print. And there's no Blu-ray. So how the hell can people get The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer? That's a classic. Or Split Second. That DVD from, I think, HBO, that's out of print. Maybe you buy a Blu-ray from overseas. DVD from overseas. But in the US, nothing. And I already said the others. Deadly Outbreak. No DVD, no Blu-ray of that. That's a great Jeff Speakman action movie. If you love those kind of action movies, that's a great one. And I'm sure you guys will list a bunch yourself. And this movie gets it. An orange puke reads an electronic Bible, starts talking, says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I killed your friends," and lets them go, and whisper of "Star." I'm gonna throw my voice out. It has to. I keep looking over there at my VHS because I'm like, little VHS tapes I have. I look at specials. Stephen Wright Live. That deserves a DVD and Blu-ray a lot more than Star Crystal. That fucking... Well, it's not that great, but that fucking cartoon Pro Stars with Michael Jordan, Bo Jackson, Wayne Gretzky as superheroes. I'm not even a big fan of it, but, I had that VHS because I was curious. That deserves a fucking Blu-ray more than Star Crystal. That's still better than Star Crystal. Phantom of the Mole, Eric's Revenge. That deserves a Blu-ray more than fucking Star Crystal. Moontrap, Crying Freeman, Mark Dacascos. I don't even think that's on DVD in the US, let alone Blu-ray. How about a Blu-ray of Drive? Does Drive with Mark Dacascos have a Blu-ray? Not that I know of. Why isn't that film out on Blu-ray, Drive with Mark Dacascos? I don't think that is on Blu-ray. That pisses me off even more. Fuck. I know it's about rights and what you get the rights to, but you can't tell me none of those films I mentioned could get a rights and be able to get released before the Star Crystal. And I think the reason because that's one of the worst fucking movies I've seen. It's one of the worst fucking movies I've reviewed on this channel. It's one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my fucking life. And next, I guess Feeders 1 and 2 will get a Blu-ray. I wasn't surprised they got Blu-ray already. I would not be fucking surprised. All the fucking movies. And you pick the Star Crystal. Why is it a piece of shit movies like The Alien Dead and the Star Crystal are the ones that get the Blu-rays, but some classes? The Changeling. Now that George C. Scott's The Changeling is one of the best ghost story movies of all time, that does not have a DVD in the U.S. or, well, no, it did, but yeah, it did have a DVD in the US, but I don't know if you can find it. Hopefully you can, because there's no Blu-ray of it in the US. I was hesitant because I wonder if it was out of print or not, but there's no Blu-ray of The Changeling. You would think with all these movies about ghost stories coming out and all the Conjurings, Annabelles, why not the Changeling with George C. Scott? Many people consider that one of the best ghost stories of all time. Why does that film not have a Blu-ray in the US? Can someone answer me that, please? Why not? Tell, can you give me some info over here? But this fucking movie does. The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer and C. Thomas Howell, The Changeling, George C. Scott, these movies, even, I'm just repeating myself again, pisses me off to no fucking end. Man, I just had a, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. See, I'm being so nonsensical. I could be explaining this in a linear fashion, and I'm just, my mind got blown out of my ass when I read that news. And again, I barely comment on news stories, movie news stories lately, but this one I had to say something. Again, my fucking brain peeked out of my asshole and told me, hey, you gotta see this stuff. You gotta say something about this. And I did. So my brain is working right back to my head. So I'll end it here so that's not 30 minutes long. The Star Crystal. The Star Crystal gets a Blu-ray. All the fucking movies that... On a good note, I heard that Scorpion Releasing is coming out with Rituals on Blu-ray down the road. A couple months. Who knows, maybe by November, December, maybe by January. Scorpion Releasing. So that's good. Rituals. That deserves it. That's a plus. Good job, Scorpion. As for Kino Lorber, what the fuck are you thinking? Was anyone asking for the Star Crystal? And if you don't get something like that, you can't tell me that they can't get Blue Monkey or Murder by Phone or Nightlife or some of these other films that don't even have a DVD. If the Star Crystal could fucking do it. I think even some films when I know, like my friend, how I feel about the Star Crystal, well, I know Mike OCP hates it, but how strongly I feel about is how he feels about that Curse of the Demon, Blue Demon Lights, or Blue Balls, or whatever the fuck it was called. I think that got a Blu-ray too. So of course the shittiest movies did it. But at least Rituals is the other one too. But so many fucking movies. Yeah, Drive with Mark Dacascos says, I don't think it has a Blu-ray in the US. I don't even know if it has it anywhere. Not Dilly Alberg or Jeff Speakman, just... I'll end it here because it's getting darker. I could turn my light on, but I'm done.